live with Tao. There was a little problem, so we have to restart it again. This moment alone is available to you. Life is a single moment. Whatsoever is precious happens in a precise moment. Life gives you only one moment. And you cannot argue with death. You cannot argue with life. You have no control over it. You cannot do anything. When it happens, it happens. Time is very short. Even if you live a life of 70 years or 100 years, it is not enough. Mind does not find it enough. What you have to do with yourself to transform, to mutate, to become a new being, you have to learn one thing: do not postpone for the next moment. You have to catch the fortune by the forelock. Time and tide waits for none. Unless you feel it as an emergency, a deep crisis, you will not do anything. Unless religion becomes a very critical process for you, the transformation becomes a very critical process. If it does not happen, then nothing can happen, and you have to allow it to happen somehow or the other. And you feel that unless something is done to transform you, your whole life is just wasted. Unless something is done, either on your own efforts, out of your own inspiration, or the inspiration you gather, it is like a virus, a positive vibe, good vibration, like a vibe in the surrounding, and you have to capture it. Anything can inspire you, anything, once you have that capability. For instance, this morning during our meditation session, the presence became an inspiration, and the inspiration came as if to create a life. Meditation is union of male and female energies. It can happen in two ways. It can begin within and then spread in the outer life. It can begin outside as a male-female relationship, tantra way, and then spread within. Just the situation, just the presence created this inspiration. So every moment, existence gives you an opportunity to feel inspired, and one who is inspired for life. With every situation that comes in, you should be inspired. Remember one thing: if you are in public life, as I am, you have to be available 24 hours. You don't know who needs your help at in which time zone. There are time zones. The time zone between India and Trinidad is, Indian time is 9.5 hours ahead of us. British time is because of the daylight, it is 4 hours. European time, specifically German, is 5 hours ahead. Australian time, different time zones, 12-14 hours ahead of us. Pacific time, 3 hours behind Trinidad time. So, in which zone somebody needs your assistance? You are in public life because you are announced that you have assumed responsibility for a public life. Who needs your assistance at that moment? How are you going to look into the need of that person and help him, inspire him? You have to work with conscious, subconscious, unconscious mind through different bodies, through physical body, through astral body, through the energy body. Your energy flows into that person at that moment, and that becomes a self-inspiration. So sometimes it happens. We say that we have never heard this thing from anywhere. It just happened to me this moment. It is that the existence is working through you, through the energy body. Unless you feel it as an emergency in a deep crisis, for me, every moment, every person, every situation is an opportunity, is an inspiration for me. Those who are within the inner circle, within the energy field, they will realize that the favorable situations are always favorable and beneficial to you. And a wise is the one who makes every situation favorable, inspirational for you. Every situation. So this morning, that particular meditation, where nothing was planned, just the presence, just the energy that was manifesting through that presence, became an inspiration to create another audio visual meditation session, depending on our IT personnel. It may happen this week itself. Unless religion becomes a deep critical process for you, and you feel that unless something is done to transform you, your whole life is just wasted. We have been living and we have always felt that we are wasting time in this pursuit or that pursuit. If you feel this very keenly and deeply and honestly, only then anything can become an inspiration, anything can become a technique, and as if the existence has opened its infinite treasures for you, for your own transformation, and to help the other. Anyone who needs your help at any moment, at any time. So one who is in public life, who has announced that I am in public life, has to be available 24 hours beyond your own pain and pleasure. Because you can understand them. Understanding is of no use unless you do something about it. Unless you do something about it, you have not understood them. So two things goes together. You have to understand it and allow it to be part of your activity. It is not becoming action. If it is not becoming action, like for instance this morning, the inspiration that came in, with that an understanding came. Now it has to become an action. And unless the understanding becomes an action, it is important. If it is not becoming an action, then it is only acquaintance, not understanding. Understanding means whatsoever you have understood, it has to be part of activity. Try to understand this distinction. Acquaintance is not an understanding. It is said that is a nodding acquaintance. I knew him just so. This is the word. And if you know him deeply, then it is understanding. Acquaintance will not force you to actions. Mere acquaintance will not take you deeper into the inner realm. Acquaintance will not force you to actions. It will not force you to any change. It will not force you to do something about it. You will gather it in the mind. It will become just an information. You have not started working on this information. You will become more knowledgeable. But at death, everything stops. You go on collecting many things, never doing anything about it or putting in the practical part of activity. They will become just a burden to you. That's what our life is. We have many acquaintances, many opportunities, but we never avail any opportunity. It is said, catch the fortune by the forelock. Fortune is the lady that comes, and if you do not, it is bold. So you have to catch the fortune by the forelock as tightly as possible. Only then the process of transformation or mutation can begin in you. Understanding means action. When you understand something, immediately start working on it. This is what we did. The moment that understanding, that inspiration dawned, we worked on the methodology. We did an experimental audio recording and meditation session, felt its effect, and then now it has to be put in practice. The IT personnel will create that audio, create that visual effects, and then this meditation will be available to anyone who is interested in. When you understand something, immediately you start working on it, because it is, if it is right, and you feel it is right, you feel inspired about it, something, the inspiration is coming from deep within, You have to do something about it. Otherwise, everything remains borrowed, and borrowed knowledge cannot become understanding and help you to transform. So what will happen when this inspiration, the company, that situation inspired understanding came, we have started working on this again. So it is no more a borrowed knowledge. Instead, it is understanding, and now it is going to be in practice, in activity, part of that. And this will transform you, and not only transform anybody who uses this opportunity, because my work is the transformation of human consciousness, how each of my action, each of my word should create an inspiration in an individual or the one who listens to it, and sow the seed in some, prepare the soil, and many other things that may be necessary depending on at what level of inner development that person is. You can forget that it is borrowed. You would like to forget that it is borrowed, because to feel that it is borrowed means that your ego is hurt. So you go on forgetting that it is borrowed. By and by you start feeling that it is your own, and this is dangerous. The moment you put into the seed is planted in you, it grows and becomes a part of your own understanding, a part of your own growth. It is said, in the life, the presence of a master is very important. He not only teaches you about a particular discipline, instead he teaches you how to live your life at samam banam, totally. उस्ताद किसी एक खास फन की तालीम नहीं देता, वो जिंदगी जीने का फलसफा सिखाता है. Teaches you the way to life, to live life totally. You gather inspiration from all around, process in you buy different ingredients, you diverse ingredients from different places, you bring it to your kitchen and create a dish which is your own creation. In the spiritual terminology, I will say that from wherever it is possible to gather the energy and using your own creativity, present something. जहाँ से भी फैज़ हासिल हो सके हासिल करो, और अपनी इनकरादियत के हिसाब से उससे प्रेजेंट करो. Gather the ingredients from inspiration from wherever you can. Process it deep within your own inner lab and present it as your own growth. What does a flower does, a plant does? It gathers the energy, the inspiration from sunlight, from moonlight, from the wind, from the rain, from the soil, from the nourishment from the soil, and processes it deep within. The environment, everything is the same. All the flower plants that are planted on a flower bed, the rose, the marigold, the chrysanthemum, the dahlia, all are on the same flower bed. They are being nourished and nurtured. They are held by the same ground, getting the nourishment from the earth, the same kind of nourishment that you have provided, nourished your the soil with. The same nourishment goes to rose plant, to marigold, to chrysanthemum, to dahlia, to any other plant. And the same sunlight, the same wind, the same rainfall, but the final product coming out of the rose plant differs in its luster, in its beauty, in its fragrance than with the marigold. Marigold is full symbolic of plasticity. Rose is symbol of beauty. Chrysanthemum has its own beauty, fragrance, elegance and color. So too, everything that emerges out of you, it is the same situation, the same nourishment, the same energy, but whatever comes out from the rose plant is because of its own innerness. It is the innerness of the rose manifest through the rose flower, guided by different ingredients and energies. So too is the life. By and by you start feeling that it is your own. If without working on it, then it is dangerous. Enough for now.